Good morning and welcome. I'm Carrie Staten. I'm the director of the Brownfields Assistance Center at WVU. We serve as the state lead for Opportunity Appalachia in West Virginia. We help to provide technical assistance and oversee the broader technical assistance to projects selected in West Virginia, as well as serving on the regional steering committee and the selection committee. And we're very excited to again work with this program in the Appalachian Community Capital on this program that's had a really great impact. You're going to hear a little bit more both about this round and how you can apply, as well as some of the results of previous rounds. I'm sure Catherine will go over in great detail all of the sponsors, but in West Virginia, in addition to the ARC funding that for the program, we also receive funding from the Benedum Foundation, which allows us to provide additional support to communities, and we're very grateful for that relationship. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Catherine, who's going to let you know all the stuff you're really here to find out.
All right. Thank you, Carrie. I'm going to get right started with sharing my slides. Okay. Got it. All right. So thank you everyone for joining. I'm thrilled to be here for this virtual session. We had a great in-person session last month, and I'm glad we get to have folks join who couldn't join last month. So welcome. Again, my name is Catherine Coulter Rhodes. I'm a partner with Rural Support Partners based in Asheville, North Carolina. And I'm serving as the program manager for Opportunity Appalachia. And I'm gonna, as Carrie said, walk through the details and the context. So first I'll go context, larger context around what is Opportunity Appalachia, and then I'll get into the details about project types that we're looking for, guidelines as you think about your application, and requirements, that kind of thing. And it's been said before, but if you have any questions, please feel free to type those in the chat. All right, Opportunity Appalachia is in its third phase. We anticipate supporting 30 downtown and rural development projects with over $1.8 million in funding for technical assistance. We are operating in 6 states, in the Appalachian counties of Kentucky, North Carolina, Ohio, Tennessee, Virginia, and all of West Virginia. Each chosen project will receive direct technical assistance in an amount between $40,000 and $75,000. And the purpose for that is to prepare the project to raise the financing it needs to be able to construct and finish their project. So all in all, we anticipate the selected projects will eventually seek to raise about $150 million in investment for their communities across Appalachia. So overall, what we really see this adding up to, or the grand purpose of Opportunity Appalachia, is we want to see more downtown and rural development that fosters entrepreneurism, creates really good jobs for community members, and revitalizes the local economies in the ways that each community needs. Opportunities Appalachia is led by a steering committee that shapes the program and selects the projects. The steering committee is led by Appalachian Community Capital. Donna Gambrell is the CEO, and she's the kind of lead on our steering committee. We also have a local partner in each state who is the key resource for you as you develop your application. So in West Virginia, your go-to is the Brownfields Assistance Center, specifically Ray Muller. You may have already had a conversation with him. So that's your go-to. And then we also have 2 national partners providing kind of national and investor perspectives in Main Street America and Coastal Enterprises. So that's our steering committee. And then we wouldn't be here without our funders. Carrie mentioned the ARC support. We're supported with a power grant from ARC, and then we have matching funding from the CDFI fund, Truist Bank, Dogwood Health Trust, the Benedum Foundation, US Bank, and M&T Bank. All right, so types of projects. What are we looking to support, really? Specifically, we are looking for downtown or rural development real estate projects. So they have to involve some kind of real estate, and the project needs to support some kind of broader community priority, community need. So you might have job creation as a focus. You might be spurring the local economy. You might be doing housing, affordable housing, or childcare access. Those are just a sampling, but they can be a large variety of community priorities. It just depends on what the need is in your area. And it has to be investable. So if you want to raise 100% of your funds from grants, Opportunity Appalachia is maybe not the best fit. But if you're looking for tax credits, any kind of bank financing, equity investment, your project is certainly eligible. It's because we really prepare you in a way that is for investment and going out to talk to investors. So we also have a set of sectors that we're prioritizing. They're listed here on the slide: housing, healthcare, food systems, clean energy for a few of them. One thing I'd recommend doing is taking a look at the examples that we have, the examples of projects that we've selected in the past. There are 58 past projects that we've supported since 2020. And there's an interactive version of the screenshot that you see on the slide on the Opportunity Appalachia website. So you can see all the projects and even look at their prospectus, their pitch decks, and get a sense for what types of projects we've selected so far. So who should apply? The eligibility is broad. It can be anyone from public entities to private developers and nonprofit. It can be a municipally owned property or a privately owned one. It just has to be connected to broader community efforts, as I said. You'll see from the list of 58 past projects that there are a number of different types of project sponsors, and they may or may not be the building owner. So ideally, the entity that's applying has the capacity to take on the project and has some community engagement under its belt. And if they aren't already the property owner, the owner should certainly be on board with the vision for the project. If you have any questions about your eligibility, that's a good cue to reach out to the Brownfields Center. All right, where can these projects be located? In West Virginia, there's only one county that is not eligible. So all the counties in West Virginia are eligible except for Jefferson County. And then we are also prioritizing certain economic or poverty or rural status, which you can explore these links when we post these slides are already posted on our website. So you can take a look and explore what specific rural or economic status is applied to your community. What types of technical support can be provided? It is any of the TA that will help your project get ready to receive financing. So that could be an investment prospectus, doing market research, architectural plans, and so on. You might need most of these things. You might need just one thing or two things. And you don't need to know exactly what you need right now. Opportunity Appalachia will help you figure that out once projects are selected. So this list isn't really exhaustive, but gives you an idea of the types of things that you will need to go out and seek financing. Who provides the TA? So Opportunity Appalachia already has a list of over 100 approved and vetted TA providers with specific and certain expertise. So we can match projects that don't already have TA providers in mind, or you may have already started working with a TA provider or an architect, or you have an accountant on staff or something. So that might be done in-house, but you may have already started with an external provider, and you can indicate that in your application. So if you are here today as someone who can provide services from the last slide, you're certainly welcome to complete our request for qualifications, which is also available on the Opportunity Appalachia webpage. All we ask is before we end up contracting with a TA provider, that they have their request for their statement of qualifications in, so that we can do the proper vetting. And now, how do projects really get connected with investors? In a couple different ways. First, Opportunity Appalachia regularly keeps in touch with investors to share updates about selected projects. And we often make introductions as a result of that, those updates, after some investors reach back out and say, oh, I want to hear more about this project or that project, or keep me updated on several of these projects. So that's one way. Your TA team might have this as part of their scope. So if it is part of their scope, they would be reaching out to investors on behalf of you and making those introductions as well. And then in the spring of next year, our investor convening will give projects the opportunity to pitch their project in front of a wide array of investors. Here are the investors that are interested in keeping an eye on Opportunity Appalachia projects. And we are always reaching out to more potential investors throughout the next year. So you'll see that these folks are coming from a wide variety of financial interests, from opportunity zone funds, new market tax credit investors, CDFI partners, and so on. So stepping back a little bit to the investor convening again, what happens is before the convening, investors will access the prospectuses and pitch decks about your projects, and then at the convening, project sponsors will pitch to those investors, and what we really want to what we hope to see from the convening is for your project to get introduced to investors, in front of investors, and you get comfortable pitching your project, so you can begin doing that again and again and furthering those investment conversations. All right, so now for some requirements. So if you are selected to be part of Opportunity Appalachia, to be a project, we require a matching support of $5,000. That says either actual cash contribution towards your project, or it might also be some in-kind from the time that the project sponsor puts into the project. It might be community members' in-kind time, or other project partners. The second requirement is that we are including a pay it forward component. That'll go towards future phases of Opportunity Appalachia projects, as they seek their own technical assistance for projects. So what that means is you'll have to pay it forward if your project closes on financing within 3 years of getting selected. So if you are financed within those 3 years, then you will pay the lesser of two options. A, the dollar amount that Opportunity Appalachia paid for your technical assistance, or B, 1% of the project's closed financing amount. So an example is that if your TA cost $50,000, then your project closes on a $1 million financing package, say after 2 years, your project would repay Opportunity Appalachia $10,000. So that's 1% of 1 million is $10,000, which is less than the $50,000 that OA paid. All right, so selection criteria. There are 7 that I'll walk through, and your project will be assessed on each of these by first your state lead partner and then the rest of the steering committee. So if you reach out to Ray, it's a good opportunity to kind of ensure that you have strong points on all of these. So number 1, we are looking for your project to connect to some larger community economic development strategy. So tell us how it fits into the community's priorities. We want to see what level of community engagement you've had. How are community members maybe at the table? So the more you can show how the community is involved and the community need, the better. Number 2, that you have a clearly identified project and vision. So what that is really describing your project. We want to know the specific uses that your project will have, what's going to go in the space, who's going to be using it, who are your customers or your tenants. So really paint the picture of what the space will be in the future. So number 3 is impact. How many jobs might you anticipate from that will be created as a result of the project? Will those jobs have good pay and benefits? Maybe a minority community is specifically served. So it's on this one, it's important to kind of put some numbers in there where you can, and really show what you anticipate happening as a result of this project. What does it mean for the community? How many families will be housed as a result of it, and that kind of thing. Number 4, that your team has the capacity and track record to do the project, focus on the project and prioritize it. So can you demonstrate any past accomplishments in this type of work? What staff or partners will be involved, and what roles will they play to show that you have the capacity to take on and prioritize this project. Number 5, suitability for investment. So as I said earlier, Opportunity Appalachia is selecting projects that are planning to have some kind of tax credit, bank financing, or equity investment. If your capital stack needs to have grants, as most of them do in this area, that's great. It just shouldn't be 100% grants. Number 6, we really just want you to describe the need for the TA that you have. So in the mix of all the things that you've already done to plan and envision your project, what's needed, what's left to get you on the path to receive financing. And then number 7 is the clean energy focus. So do you have any clean energy components that you're planning as part of the project, whether that's solar panels or energy efficiency or water drainage systems that'll, like rain gardens, that kind of thing. Tell us about those. Those are kind of bonus points there. So that's all the 7 criteria. The application will prompt you to answer those, and then the steering committee, again, will be evaluating your project on those. All right, I think this is my second to last slide, so we're almost through with the fire hose. Our timeline is we're in the middle of the application period. So the application is available online. It's the deadline to submit is April 12th, and it is an online submission. You can also download a PDF version to kind of craft your answers. But you can also save your application as well and come back to it. Then then at the end of May, towards the end of May, we will be announcing the selections. And then once those are announced, we will really get started on the Opportunity Appalachia side to nail down exactly what TA services you need, and then identify the TA providers over the summer. The TA provision phase lasts up to 12 months and leads straight into the investor convening held in the spring of 2025. And then following the investor convening is really when projects start to begin. They start carrying out the capital raise efforts, which that can be some of the more difficult times when you need some persistence. So it's important to note that Opportunity Appalachia will stay with you beyond, like through the TA provision phase. We'll coach you on your investment pitch, and we will also stay with you, request updates, support you in any way you need, to kind of problem solve through any of the challenges that will come up, certainly. So just know that we are in your corner. We want to see you to your finish line and when you open your doors. So know that. So last slide, just to reiterate, the application deadline is April 12th at 5 p.m. Many of the resources and the specifics of what I've talked about here are already on the Opportunity Appalachia webpage, as are these slides. So thank you, and I think I'm turning it back over to Carrie, or is it Ray?
It is me. We're gonna, so one of the things that we have done in the past for projects that were funded is that they get these really beautiful videos that help to tell the story of their project. And we have an example of one that tells you a little more about a project in Grafton. And I am going to play that right now. Oh, hang on. Make sure you're going to get my sound.
Grafton is such a special town. The spirit of this town is something that I've never experienced in any other town before. The people that come together to support and as a community is just overwhelming. There is an energy for progression and for improvement in this town to really revive what it used to be, to bring back the greatness that was in Grafton. The Cohen was built in 1922, and the whole goal of this project is to take the Cohen and turn it into a true cornerstone to be a catalyst for improvement of our entire town. The building itself is 33,000 square feet, and once it's completed, it will be used as a mixed retail and commercial space that will have private office suites, a conference center, shared co-working flex space, and a myriad of nonprofits will be coming into town and continuing services and bringing newer services in. So really the whole idea behind the Cohen is to fill unmet needs in our community. So the Cohen project really will bring a return on investment in the community as well as to the investors. When we look at the community, the building itself and the occupants that are going to be in it are going to have over 45 jobs retained or created within Taylor County. To the investors themselves, as we stand now, we only have 7% of our building that is not pre-leased. We're already showing that we'll be able to turn a profit within the first year of our project being open and running.
My name is Patricia Allison, and I am a board-certified music therapist. I'm the owner of Milestones in Music, a private practice based here out of Grafton, West Virginia, and I am one of the potential lessees of the Cohen building. So as a business owner, it's been really difficult to find space to accommodate myself, my clients, and my instruments. I spend a lot of time driving to clients, and I could see twice as many clients if I had a space that allowed for the noise level of a music therapist, as well as accommodated the size and space needed for a guitar, a wheelchair, a piano, a drum set, and all of that stuff. The Cohen project is so important because it doesn't just serve for one type of customer or one type of project or one type of community. It has the ability to dip its hands in all of those areas and bring the community forward as a whole.
From an investment perspective, this seems like an attractive project in that there's a combination of historical tax credits both on the national and the state level. In addition to that, we're in an opportunity zone. Combine that with the market demands that are occurring for projects just like this, and the fact that the building is almost completely occupied makes this a really attractive spot. And we're seeing in our projections profits after the first year. On the outset, this project looks like it's just a building project, and so why does it matter? It matters because it syncs up the community need and the long vision that we've had for who we want to be as a community with the timing of a market demand that really makes this an attractive project.
All right. Right?
Yeah, every project gets a video along those lines to help enhance their opportunity in the investor convening and solicitation of a developer or whatever your outcome is that you're seeking. And just a follow-up on the Cohen building in Grafton, they were in the first round of Opportunity Appalachia 3 or 4 years ago, and they have worked so hard to try and bring that project to reality and viability, and it is it took a couple of years to get all the tax credit stuff lined up and the variety of architectural technical assistance. So just to say, we know that these are bigger projects. So if you're on this video or watching this video of this this meeting, and you're undertaking a pretty broad in-depth project, just it's going to be work, but we're going to help move that needle a lot closer, and so that's what Opportunity Appalachia's goal is. So now I will share my screen and talk a little bit more about some of the past projects and different things, and then I've got Ty Bullock online here to help as well talk about a project that he has done through Opportunity Appalachia. All right, I'm going to trust that you are able to see my screen, and I want to talk briefly about the Tigert Hotel in Elkins. This was, again, a first round Opportunity Appalachia project, and a very significant redevelopment of what used to be a prominent hotel in downtown Elkins, and it had become housing of last resort and ended up basically being closed down, and the Woodlands Development Group ended up in ownership of this, working with the city and the local economic development agency, and got technical assistance and significant tax credit assistance to help try and bring this back as a prominent hotel in downtown Elkins. Their ribbon cutting is next week. So this is a very exciting outcome for Opportunity Appalachia. Behind the scenes, this was the picture of the Tigert Hotel as Woodlands undertook this project. You should see it today. We don't have a picture of it in its final form. This is kind of a little snapshot of part of it. But you need to go to Elkins and you need to check out the Tigert Hotel. It's very cool. It involved new market tax credits, historic tax credits, all the things listed here. It took a lot of work. Dave Dave Clark, the CEO of Woodlands Development Corp., he would be ready to talk to you in a minute about the meetings and the challenges that they undertook to bring this project to fruition. The neat thing is they have done that. I'd like to introduce Ty Bullock, who's on the call with us, and he's going to talk to us about the Stats Hospital in West Charleston, another first round Opportunity Appalachia project that took a little bit of work to get to the finish line, right, Ty?
Absolutely. That's an understatement. But yeah. Well, should I go into it, Ray?
Yep. Go ahead, my friend, and I'll just do the slides as you tell me.
So we purchased this building. Well, so a little bit of background on me. My background's in accounting, and I'm an attorney, but really I'm a redeveloper, and we work in the Elk City Historic District of Charleston, West Virginia. We've done about 20 buildings, and about 4 of those were historic tax credit projects, this being the 4th one. And we purchased this building in 2014 with, we knew that we didn't have any immediate goals lined up other than stabilizing the building. It was scheduled to be torn down multiple times, and it was designed by West Virginia's first registered African-American architect. And it was just sort of the heart of this area over here. And so it was identified by Preservation Alliance of West Virginia as one of the most endangered buildings in the state. It's been identified by our local URA and our Charleston Area Alliance as a building that needed to be saved. So there was definitely a speculative aspect to it. As I said, we purchased it in 2014, and we only closed on the actual final financing about last summer. So if that tells you how long it takes to do one of these projects, of course, COVID slowed us down. We had a few other iterations that just didn't pan out, but we stuck with it. And, it took about 8 years, almost 9 years to really get this thing off the ground. And it just lived on it lurked on my balance sheet for all those years. But I believed in the project, and I believed in the ability of this building to help transform the community. So like I said, about a year ago, we closed on a $5.5 million CapEx for this project. And with the anchor tenant being Legal Aid of West Virginia, which is arguably one of the largest law firms in the state, but they focus on providing pro bono services to indigent folks, a lot of family law, a lot of domestic violence, spousal abuse, issues with children. So right now they're located in downtown Charleston on Courier Street, and they're up on the 3rd floor. They just weren't really, one, in the communities that they serve, and 2, accessible to those communities on a person-to-person basis. So they're going to take approximately 2/3 of the 1st floor, all of the mezzanine, all of the 2nd floor, and all of the 3rd floor. And they'll have a clinical component where they'll be able to walk, folks will be able to walk up, sign in, and get an intake right on the spot. So the area that we live in here, 25302, is that's the area code for the west side, more or less. It's the highest concentration of people in the state. It's the highest concentration of poverty in the state, and it's the highest concentration of minorities in the state. And so, pound for pound, buck for buck, this area is where a lot of good can be done. So that being said, we signed a 10-year lease with Legal Aid. One more interesting component too. We did sort of an exercise in design throughout this whole process called trauma-informed design. So we deal a lot. Obviously, Legal Aid deals a lot with, as I said, people experiencing some of the most traumatic parts of their life, and so we wanted to make those folks feel comfortable through the design of the space, both through color schemes, but also through not having kind of narrow hallways. Or one great example is, and I went and I interviewed with all the individuals, or as many of the department heads as I could, to get an understanding of how we can help them through the design aspect. And one of the big ones that I'm proud of is that we were able to or one thing that I heard often was that when these folks come in, they do an intake. They're experiencing some of the worst parts of their life, and that children are involved, and their playroom where the children would be was on the other side of the building from where they were doing their interviews. And that became that was a very big problem for it. People are nervous about where their kids are. They want to see their children, they want to feel comfortable. And so what we did with this, we have 3 intake rooms, and they all look into a central playroom, so that people will feel comfortable. We'll receive higher efficiencies on the intake and in the interview process. The people feel more comfortable, and everyone will get their goals achieved, hopefully more efficiently through that. So it's a great project. I'm really, really proud to be a part of it. The top floor will be an engineering company, and you can't see it, but the backside is a gymnasium building, and we're still working out some interesting aspects to that. So as I said, it was about a $5.5 million capex. We are doing a twin project, so there will be new market tax credits, and with West Banco and they have an unusual setup where they do a low interest loan, and they utilize tax credits themselves. So that's kind of an interesting component to it. And then is it Can you hear me, Ray?
Can hear you better now. Do you want me to advance
the
slides too as you're speaking?
Yes, please. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, here you can see the one on the left is the top floor. It's got this really cool atrium sort of airport hangar feel to it. It's got really great views of the city. Very, very cool building. And you can see how the hallways we're going to replicate similar hallways, and we actually have some interpretive doors that won't work. They're just where the doors originally were. And I think that's a good use of or good iteration of having a compromise with the historical component and the usability of the space. Flip to the next slide, right? Yeah. So here's a very preliminary outlook of this is the mezzanine space, but it kind of gives you a feel for the aerial view of what the space will look like. And then kind of a cool 3D representation of it. And what's the next one, Ray? Is that Yep. Okay. Just kind of a quick overview of what I went over. So 3.9 million new market tax credit allocation. We're looking at about 2.5 million in historic credits. So that includes the state and the federal, and we're hoping to monetize those for somewhere around 2 million. And I think the next slide shows a little bit more detail on that. Yeah, so there you can kind of see the what's eligible, what's not. We have as I said, about a $5.5 million capex. The value of the credits about 2.2 million, and we're hoping that the 3.5, depending on how we monetize those credits. And that's pretty much the long and short of it. I'll stop talking from there and turn it back over. Oh, we do have one more. Okay, yeah, that shows a pretty good. I'm hoping for 91 cents on the dollar for the West Virginia side of the tax credits and 86 cents on the dollar for the federal side. We're still working on monetizing those credits and finding who will be the investor in that aspect of it. We have some interesting offers from large tax credit syndicators around the country. But I think we can do better. They offer maybe 80 cents on the dollar, and I think we can do better. I think we can find some local investors that are more familiar with the project, more familiar with the risks and the players, and as such will feel more comfortable and required not as high of a return on those tax credits. And I would like to say too, just real quick that, guys, please consider me a resource. That's all my information there. That's my personal cell phone number. Call me, text me, email me. Very happy to help discuss any of this kind of stuff. You might have to get me to shut up. Adam Stevens knows that. I see Adam's on the, I can talk about this stuff all day. So yeah, please consider me a resource. Reach out to me.
Yeah, Ty is absolutely a resource, and pretty much all of what you saw in this presentation about the Stats Hospital redevelopment is the kind of materials that are available in your work with Opportunity Appalachia. You can get these kind of design renderings, the architectural analysis, the financial analysis and stuff like that. So you don't have to be an expert like Ty is on a lot of this stuff, but you draw on the expertise of others. And as long as you're willing to carry that stuff forward and kind of deploy it. Again, Ty had to go through a couple of iterations. The Cohen building that we just talked about went through a couple of iterations. They're now going to have some housing in that building that they hadn't originally considered. But that's just the nature of these size projects, right? That there's going to be multiple potential destinations, and you go into it knowing that you have a plan and you work with the experts to carry it forward. I'm going to run through just a couple of other projects, and then we can come back to some Q&A. So Ty's going to stay on the line, and we can ask him specific questions if we'd like. This is the former IOOF building in Parkersburg that was in the last round. It was owned by a private party, and he was hoping to develop apartments upstairs, retail downstairs, a mixed use proposal, and transform this long empty building into something viable for a street that has had recent investment in a children's museum and the art centers down the road from it and other things. The original project viability just wasn't there for the private owner. So the outcome of this project was that the county EDA is going to end up purchasing this building, and then they'll be able to deploy a little bit of other funding that can help make this project a reality, with some living spaces that Parkersburg needs and that retail space right across the street from the Children's Museum. So again, doesn't always go the direction you think, but the investment and the participation in Opportunity Appalachia just brings things to the surface and refines things so that you can hopefully get clarity on the destination. And that's what it looks like today. It's kind of fun looking at, this was a picture from turn of the century, the last century, and it looks very similar today. Another project that was in last year's round is the town square in Wellsburg. So Opportunity Appalachia is for every community in the state. And Little Wellsburg had these three buildings that you can see here, and right now they're working very hard to try and preserve that cool looking building on the corner. The other two buildings are going to be deployed. They found a local developer to undertake the work. They utilized the materials that they got from Opportunity Appalachia. These set of buildings are also owned by the Wellsburg Development Authority or Renewal Authority, and they're again are working hard to find the best outcome that brings the lights back on in these key buildings, right on the downtown square, right across from City Hall and the county building. And then I also wanted to highlight that there is a variety of Opportunity Appalachia outcomes that are potential. This is a property outside of Fayetteville in Fayette County, part of the New Roots local farm co-op development. And there's a house currently on this. This is a rendering of what was the outcome of the Opportunity Appalachia work, part of it, to show how the location where the house sits could be developed into a center for engaging folks for farm-related activities and other community activities. And again, they're evaluating the viability of this and the fundraising that would be required. It's not going to be immediate, but again, the long term, they own the property and they want to carry forward on that development. They now have the information in hand. Information like this that shows the layout and the funds required and how it's going to be used. Just wanted to give you a sprinkling of the variety of Opportunity Appalachia materials and outcomes that are available. That is the end of my sharing, so I will stop sharing, and I haven't looked at the chat. I don't know if there's any questions. Oh, good. Ray Daffner is on the line. I want to introduce Ray Daffner. He is one of the key partners with Appalachian Community Capital. And hey, Ray, he works with Catherine and Donna to make Opportunity Appalachia the reality that it is. And again, third time around, we're eventually going to get this right, aren't we, Ray Daffner?
You're doing such great things in West Virginia with many projects. So you all are getting it right for sure.
We're working hard. We try not to be confusing that we have two Rays involved, but you can't have too many Rays involved in any activities that go on. Ray Daffner, do you want to, Catherine did a good job of providing the overview, and I kind of showed some of the West Virginia experience. We're going to talk at the end here about the process that we're going to deploy in project selection. But is there anything you'd like to just provide as an encouragement or an overview from your angle on Opportunity Appalachia projects?
You know, I think I would probably just reiterate what Catherine had said previously, that participating projects have raised over $110 million in financing. And we just want to do more of that in West Virginia. We want to support the vision for your community. And that's what all this work is about. So thank you, Ray.
You bet. And so again, if you're fortunate enough, again, hope everybody applies. If you're fortunate enough to be selected, you are no doubt going to interact with Ray Daffner as he helps with a lot of the strategic technical assistance solicitation and securing on behalf of the projects. And then he and Catherine and myself, kind of as the state rep, will work with you throughout Opportunity Appalachia and then in an ongoing basis to try and help assure that we can reach a good outcome for each of the projects that decide to participate. Okay, I think that is that the extent of our formal, and now we've got Q&A, right, Becca?
That's right. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat right now.
Does anybody want to?
Sorry, while you're looking at your questions, I'll just clarify that we're happy to take questions broadly about the process. If you have questions related to your project in particular, if you want to say, this is what I'm kind of thinking, the Rays and Catherine can give you some feedback on that. But we'll take all the questions. Questions for Ty about his experience.
Yeah, if you want to come off mute, feel free and bark at us.
Sure. What would you like to know specifically? Which aspect?
Oh, Ty, we were inviting the other people to ask questions of us.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So here in Point Pleasant, we've got a project we've been considering. We have here on Main Street, I don't know how many of you have been to Point Pleasant. I know Carrie has at one point or another, I think. But we have a building called the Low Hotel. It's half a city block, 4 stories, 5 commercial spaces, 40 hotel rooms, and 2 ballrooms. Currently, the building is for sale by the owner. And we have some developers who've reached out to us that are interested potentially in buying it and redeveloping it. But the Low Hotel hasn't been at full operations in a while. And so the numbers that the developers need just aren't there. So Main Street has been considering being the applicant for a program like this to sort of develop the financials and those kind of things to help the developers make a decision. Does that sound like something that's been done in this before?
Yes, variations that could certainly be similar. We've had a good handful of hotels. So I think what might be part of the TA process with us would be a hotel feasibility study, market analysis to show, the viability there. And it seems like they're still actually using it as a hotel.
Right.
So enhancing that would be, I think that would be a strong, it could make a strong case.
And fortunately, we have some of those numbers already. There has been a group looking at a new hotel in Mason County, and so they just ran a hotel study for that type of project. So of course we need some numbers for a historic boutique hotel, but some of the base data is already there as far as traffic and those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can certainly, I would envision, in addition to those, like the feasibility study and some other financials, having a developer solicitation, and certainly including the developers that you have been in discussion with. But it's always a good idea to take in other proposals as well.
Yeah, we've got a couple of boutique hotel examples to draw from. The Tiger Hotel is being operated as a boutique hotel in state, and there was another project that didn't come to fruition, but it's, we're still hoping could be done in Beckley. But there are boutique hotel specific companies that we'd be able to draw on as well to get some guidance and technical assistance. Ray Daffner, do you have any kind of additional thoughts to that?
Yeah, I think what you and Catherine said is right on the money. And Chris or Christopher, a question or two. Do you all want to sell the hotel to the developer? That's your desire?
Right. So the current hotel owner, she's ready to sell and retire. She's getting into her 80s and is sort of getting out of the business. And Main Street on our end isn't a real estate developer.
Right.
So we're trying to sort of facilitate that sale.
So the current owner would be the one who would need to commit to saying they want to sell and they're interested in this. Absolutely. And how many rooms did you say it was again?
40.
Got you. So, just looking at revenues upon stabilization, is it big enough to make it work? It's certainly historic, so that helps. But boy, these things are expensive to renovate, these hotels. So that's what Catherine mentioned. Feasibility study will have, as Catherine said, the type of financial analysis required to look at costs and cash flows and see if it does make sense. And that's what it sounds like your developers want to know. Does this make sense? Is this worth proceeding with?
Yeah, that's the big question in this project. I mean, Mason County has a really strong tourism economy with the Mothman and all this other stuff going on. But those numbers just aren't on paper. And that's what the developers really need.
Yeah, it feels like you've at least got the basis for a project. Again, that ownership commitment is probably the key that would, be a driver for this, so that you can then know that we're carrying forward in a good foot.
Yeah.
And that you're not going to do something in spite of the owner or whatever. It's kind of with the owner. That's cool. And so you're saying the Mothman is real? You said you got that going on. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, 100,000 visitors a year speaks to something.
Okay. I thought, that's cool. Good stuff.
And Chris, I also recall there is a state of West Virginia tourism tax credit that if you get approval from the Department of Economic Development, you can roll into the cash flows on this, and that can really plus up your margins and make things more attractive for a developer.
The only caveat, as I understand it, with that tax credit is that the project can't be more than 50% lodging.
There is a way that you can get it to work.
With the commercial spaces in the ballrooms, I think that could be done.
Yeah. And so that just thinking about ways to try to make it more attractive and appealing to a developer, those types of subsidies. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff Opportunity Appalachia can kind of bring to the table on your behalf for sure. So good question. And the neat thing is the application's not onerous. Like it isn't, you're just not spending half your life trying to write the application for Opportunity Appalachia. And so getting in the mix, I don't know, it feels real. I feel like we haven't discouraged you out of it. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'll be reaching out soon, Ray, with some more information and some info from the developer side of it.
Sounds good. Right. Thanks, Christopher. Any other questions? Anybody?
I might have one question because I got a project that I'm working on. I might wonder how it might fit into this mix, but you got an application process that don't take half of your life. Isn't that half of the fun of putting in an application that it takes like 6 months to even fill it out?
Yeah, sorry about that. This is a reasonable application.
Take all the wind out of my sails. But right now in Mount Hope, I've been talking to Mayor Kessinger in Mount Hope about launching a vertical farm project in the community center there. He's pretty excited about it. I've been talking to the main people that build the vertical farm rack since July of last year about putting this all together. We have some main investors that are already interested in investing $3 million into the main part of the vertical farm project, but they want us to show them MVP first that shows we have some kind of revenue generating business. So we was going to do bib lettuce at first. I've been talking to Andrew Pence, the school nutrition director for Fayette County Schools, about being a vendor with them for the project. It's going to cost us about $180,000 to launch the MVP in the community center at Mount Hope. The main investors only write checks between $500,000 and $5 million. Our $3 million project falls right in the middle of that, but the MVP is too small of a check for them to write. So that's kind of where we're at in that project right now. So my question, I guess, is could Opportunity Appalachia help us get there? But then we wouldn't really have to do the investor meet and greet and stuff like that. We already know who's going to invest in our project.
That's an interesting one, Ray Daphner. I'm not 100% sure.
You know, my question, and Catherine, I think this would be the question we would have is, James, are you looking to raise money to do a real estate component to this in this phase one? Because what we do is Opportunity Appalachia is focused on projects that have real estate components as opposed to projects that are just business startup. So if you were, for example, a business and you were looking to expand, and so you needed some additional square footage, then that would be a great fit. You know, we could support the design work. We could support the business plan development. We could support helping to set up legal structures for investors. But if it's a startup business and you're looking for direct investment to start the business, that is not what we're looking to do. We're looking to help bring investors in to do this type of real estate work associated with business start next. So we might talk a little more about that with you, James.
Okay. I would say two things to that. One, real estate in the MVP and the minimum viable product is not something we're looking into, but in the main part of the project, it is a portion that we're looking into. And then we are a startup and we also are not a startup at the same time. So we will be starting a Delaware C corporation for this project and filing as a foreign entity in West Virginia, but the majority shareholder on the project will be a for-profit LLC that's already in West Virginia. So the main the main shareholder in the project is a business. It is a West Virginia based business already.
You know what we might be able to do, and Ray and Catherine and I would need to chat a little more, is maybe we could do the work around this phase two expansion but we wouldn't really be doing that much around what your original request was how to get yourself started and get the revenue flowing initially. I don't know, Catherine and Ray, what your thoughts are about that.
I had the same need for clarity, Ray, on how Opportunity Appalachia would want to go on that. So I could feel like if James and I were talking this over, my next call would be to you to say, like, or is this the direction that we can support, and how would we tangibly do so? So
yeah, because I know Ray knows that I'm working on more than one thing at a time. I have a few different things that I'm working on. The main reason that I wanted to get into the vertical farm project myself is because it would bring good paying jobs to the middle of southern West Virginia. We're talking $17 an hour, 40 hours a week for general labor, $30 an hour full time, 40 hours a week for management at each facility. And where my nonprofit work that I'm involved in, we work with people that are homeless and in recovery from substance use disorder and stuff like that. So I'm interested in it being a robust recovery to work program. The people that are the main shareholders I'm bringing on are already in vertical farm tech. So the main people I'm bringing on are in vertical farming already, have farmers on staff and everything. So there's that aspect of it covered too. And the main investors that we've been talking to, that was one of the things that they wanted. They wanted to make sure that I could bring a farmer onto the team that can guarantee a good grow, that if they had retail farming experience, that would be a big plus for the project. And I've been working with Gust, Ryan Nash and Peter Swan at Gust because the main investors are on the Gust platform. And that would probably be what we do our cap table management through would be Gust.
So it sounds really exciting, James. It really does. But maybe we could help with this phase 2 build out and your planning and structuring of that. But it might be harder with the phase 1 vision where you're trying to do the 180,000 and just get the sale started. But what an important project.
Yeah, and we've been working on it for a little while. I really want to see it get off the ground this year, but I'm so used to investing multiple years into a project that if it takes another year to get it off the ground, then it takes another year. But I've already put this much time into it, and I'm not giving up on it.
Sounds good, man. If we need to talk a little more, that's cool. And if you want to do an application and kind of describe it to fit what Ray Daffner has kind of described, like the areas where Opportunity Appalachia could play a role, it's kind of, you might consider whether or not you want to take that time to do it. Again, it's not onerous, but and then we can get it in the mix and just see if and follow up as needed to assure that we've got a fit before we get too far down the road. But I'm glad that, yeah, again, it's cool sounding project. Adam Stevens.
Ray, maybe we could brainstorm with James about other sources for this phase 1.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Adam Stevens, did you come off mute for a minute? Uh-oh.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
What's going on, Ray? How are you today?
I'm good. You got to clarify, me or Ray Daffner. So that's.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Did you have a question for me in particular?
Well, I thought I saw you come off mute earlier, and so I didn't know if you had a question for us. I just want to make sure we got to you if we needed to.
No.
Okay. You feel good about what you've heard? I know you and I have talked already about your project somewhat, and I think maybe you've been in touch with Ty, so that's cool. And
I do. Yeah, I mean, I would be definitely happy to say that I jumped on a call with Ty and it was great because he was like, no, go back to like the beginning and build the business model. And I was like, yes. And so, yeah, he just through the conversation kind of sparked things I already knew and he helped walk through it. And to kind of, again, work through the roots of the project, the nuts and bolts of projections and things like that. And then other than that, yeah, just excited to see what all this could unfold into.
Very cool. All right. Glad you were on the call. Thanks, bud. Anybody else on the call got a question? If not, we can head down the home stretch here. In West Virginia, as Catherine indicated, the applications are going to close April 12th. And subsequent to that, we'll kind of field all the West Virginia applications. Last year or 2 years ago, there were about 17 applications, and we ended up selecting 6 projects, 6 or 7. And we're in a similar boat this year. Is it 5 or 6, Catherine, that we're doing per state kind of?
There's no technical set number. We're averaging about 5 projects per state.
Okay. And we may have some funding to be able to carry out a 6th one. So I think 5 or 6 projects in West Virginia. I have no idea how many applications are going to be, but again, it gives you some context that there were 17, so it was competitive 2 years ago. We welcome anybody and everybody to submit a project. We have we'll kind of summarize them, and then we have a set of statewide partners that actually help us with our selection that we forward to the steering team, the broader steering team of Opportunity Appalachia. I help facilitate the selection, but I don't necessarily participate in it other than to just, again, provide context and things for the selecting partners. We've got like the state Main Street office, the state municipal league, and community development partners, community developers, folks who, again, are very familiar with the statewide scene and with redevelopment in general. So a good group to draw from to help us get to the point of the projects that we then carry forward to the broader Opportunity Appalachia team. So I wanted you to be aware of that process that would happen at the end of April, early May, and then ultimately in May is when the broader steering team confirmation takes place, and then everything gets launched subsequent to that. I am available. My contact info is out and about and everywhere. And I think it's been shared here already. Raymond.moeller@mail.wvu.edu. Reach out anytime by email. My cell phone, 269-719-0504. Welcome your calls, welcome your emails. And I think that pretty much gets us to the, yeah, look at there. It's right in the chat now. Catherine, any last thoughts prior to wrapping this one up?
No, I think we covered it. I look forward to seeing your applications coming through.
Ray Daphner, anything? Last thoughts as we go?
Just excited to see what things are going on in West Virginia and supporting some great opportunities.
Yeah, I've already had some good interactions, like I say, with some of the folks on this call, and then the sounds of maybe something coming out of Point Pleasant. That'd be great. We'd love to be all over the state. Last year, projects were north, south, and east and west. We had projects all over the place, so it was a great mix. Carrie, anything you want from your office here?
Just happy grant writing.
Again, not onerous. This is one of the not as onerous type projects. Ty Bullock, were you excited to be part of OA and looking forward?
Absolutely. This iteration for sure. And I was very excited when I was in the first cohort. It honestly really gave me, I was getting fatigue with the project, and I consider myself a pretty tenacious person, but I was getting fatigued with that project, and Opportunity Appalachia and the support from it just really helped me, put my head down one more time and get this thing across the the field goal. So again, such an incredible project. I'm proud to be a part of it, and thank you guys again for the excellent support over the years.
Glad to play a role in the Stats Hospital. Becca, I think we've covered all our bases, if you agree as well. And maybe Ray Daffner and Catherine, you want to hang on for just a minute? We can kind of let folks go. Thanks everybody for spending your morning with us.